Hello, I'm retired Battalion Chief Larry Cockman from the Greensboro, North Carolina Fire Department History Book Committee. We're here today at the Greensboro Historical Museum. I'm standing in front of the General Greene, the first steam pumper, or as they called it back then, the steamer. Today, December 9th, 2019, we are starting a new tradition of recording and preserving the heritage and culture of our retirees. Our retirees have contributed so much to the success of our great fire department. Their stories retire with them and are sometimes gone forever when they pass away. They will share their emergency calls that will always be a part of their memories forever. So sit back and listen as they carry us through their journey in the Greensboro Fire Department.
My name is Jerry Price. I was born in 1944. Which makes me 75 years old. And I spent 29 years in the fire service. I had the year of grace time and the sick time build-up. And I was a company officer when I retired. Okay. Grew up right outside of Greensboro in Summerfield, about 7 or 8 miles out of town. But was not very familiar with Greensboro, you know. I was a country boy. We didn't come to town much, but I'm a local guy, I guess you'd say. I'm related to David Price, who's my son. He's on the fire department. Been here, I think he's been a fireman about 12, 14 years, maybe. Actually, before I came on the fire department, I had a good job. I was working with Piedmont Natural Gas, and I was a district purchasing agent, I guess you would call that, for them. But I left that job to come on the fire department. And I left that job early. Chief Powell at that time told me that we're going to hire you if you pass the physical. That was pretty much the process then. And he said, but we're going to hire January the 1st. And so I had about a 3-month period there that I had quit Piedmont Natural Gas. And so during that in between time, actually I shot horses and probably made more money doing that than I did first 2 or 3 years on the fire department. Probably the biggest driving force, if you want to call it that. I didn't know anything about the fire service at all. I didn't know anything about even living that close to the volunteers outfit out at home, but I was fortunate in a lot of ways to live next door to Fire Assistant Chief Bill Osborne. And Bill was a fireman's fireman. A lot of guys didn't like him for that. I liked him because he was straight down the line with me, you, and whoever.
Yes, he was.
But at the same time, he had 2 or 3 guys that come to visit him. One of them was Chief Perry. One of them was Burnside. One of them was Popeye. And I don't remember anybody else, but they were good guys. They were just good guys. No show, nothing, just good guys. And I said, this might be I wouldn't mind being in a group like this. In my class, I think was probably one of the largest classes they'd had at that time. And there was like 18 or 20.
Okay.
Maybe 22. As far as training was concerned, I've always, all my life, played team stuff. And I could see our training class, for the most part, the longer we stayed there, the more we started, I'd help you if you need me to, or would you help me? And I could see that coming with the majority of the guys in the class. And I appreciated that part of it. And I could see that, I saw that all the way through 29 years. going up and down. But it's pretty much, that was one of the big drawing points and the thing that kept me liking the fire department through the years, because I felt like the whole time I was there that I was on a team and I had some teammates here with me. Well, yeah, you could tell the station camaraderie that carried through from our training class. You know, even I didn't even work with anybody in my training class. So for a long time after we went on the line, didn't even get to see them hardly. Some of the guys in my class. One guy that was a surprise to me the whole time was a guy named Howard Wood. Howard Wood had been a fireman and was drafted in the Army. Came back. They put him back through training again. Good guy too. Good guy. Charlie Jones, Danny Underwood, Danny Shoemate, Arlie Reese. Yeah, I can remember some of the funniest things, and I can remember some of the not so funniest things. One of the not so funniest things was the Pompier ladder. If I'd had to do that another day, I'd have quit. I mean, a single beam ladder with rungs on each side of it. Right, and this thing had a big hook on the end, and the rule to operate it was you were supposed to sit in one windowsill and knock the windows out above you and hook that thing and then climb up it, which the higher you got, the less fun that got to be. And the second thing that happened to me was in training was Arlie Reese sitting right behind me, and we had a question on a test: what was the reach of a properly placed 20-foot wall ladder? And he put 22 feet. And I kidded him all the way the rest of training through that. And still today, if he walked in the door, I'd still kid him. I never understood that really, how that would work. As far as what I could see coming down the road, I could see them in training trying to develop us into, like I told you before, and helping one another. Just like with the ladders. You know, it takes teamwork to raise a ladder. And those are the kind of things that I recognized that, you know, they were trying to develop us to work together, which is probably as important as anything you'll do on the fire ground. You know that as well as I do. So, but another big thing that I liked about the training part of it was, and what I could see coming down the road is you don't know from this minute to the next minute what we're going to be doing, or what's going to happen. Sometimes that's good, and sometimes it wasn't good. But I like the fact that you never got in a rut. You're always, something was a little different all the time, and you were doing something a little different that required a little something different. Even from the classroom work to the physical part on the drill ground. Oh yeah, my first assignment was Station 5. My first assignment there was a 2-company station, and I could not remember for sure. I'm almost positive I was assigned to the ladder, but I was also assigned when I got there, told me to ride anything went out the door. My first captain was Wally Mabe. Some of the guys at the station, Sarge Alexander, Jerry Wheeler, Bobby Taylor, Jimmy Eller, Ronnie P. Howard, Walter Brown. Yeah, so I was fortunate to get tagged with a nickname, and I was given that nickname from Graham Fuquay, and it was Hambone. And my father's name was Hampton. And I don't know how Graham found that out, and he called me Hambone from then on. I think probably one of the most gratifying calls that I ever rode on was when we had department fire in Smith Homes, and there was 4 or 5 kids in the department, and it was not good. As a matter of fact, all of them required a lot of medical treatment as soon as we got them out, you know, as far as, I don't remember CPR on them, remember a lot of oxygen, getting them out and getting them in the air and stuff. But they all of them made it out of that, out of a pretty bad, they were in a pretty bad situation when we got there. Made me feel pretty good. Then you could see what, and I had a lady come to me and tell me this one time. She said, it's amazing to watch you guys when you ride up on the truck, that everybody just, and they know where to go and what to do. And you know, you could see that over there that day. There was 3 companies there and everybody was doing what they were trained to do and what they were supposed to do. Pranks were common things, you know. Most of them you forget because there were so many of them. But at the same time, you know, I was 28 years old, and that sheltered me from a lot of the rookie foolishness. You know, I wasn't a rookie; I was an old man when I got here, and so I missed out on a lot of the tricks on me. Now I played some tricks on some people. Well, when I got to work in the morning, the first thing I wanted to do, even back when I was just riding the truck, I wanted to talk to the guys and see what they had yesterday, because I didn't have any other way of knowing. You know, you know, very little of it made the news at that time like it does now. But that was pretty much find out what they did yesterday and find out if there's anything we need to do today. Find out if they're leaving anything for us to do today, you know, and then, but getting into the routine was, of course, that depended on your position. When I drove, the first thing I did in the morning was check the truck. And I would consider it a cardinal sin if the truck wasn't ready to go at 8 o'clock. And by that, I mean started and running. And it would have been one of the most embarrassing things in the world to me if at 8 o'clock the truck wouldn't start and you had to call on the radio on the call and tell them we couldn't go because we were 10-7. But you know, just generally find out what happened yesterday and if there's anything we need to know about yesterday. And then, you know, our routine, a lot of the old years ago routine was getting your bed straightened out and then starting your station duties, you know, cleaning, sweeping, if you didn't have something scheduled that day. So on certain days of the week schedule, you know, you had a mow day and you had a scrub day. But see, I had a day where we took the brooms and went around and got the cobwebs out of all the corners. That was a personal thing with me because I would hate for somebody to walk in the station and look up and see cobwebs all over. That sends a message that you may want, but I wouldn't want. Anyway, and that varied, that was not written in stone. You know, that varied somewhat from station to station. And later on, after I was there, when you had a little more opportunity if you needed to go somewhere to pick up something to eat, I was hesitant about that, but it's because of the money, you know, because a lot of guys came to work in the morning knowing that we're going to take up $5 today. Well, they may not have had but $6. I don't know how much money they had. So I'm not going to turn around and say, hey, let's go over here, and then all of a sudden it's going to cost us $10 or $12 a day. And you know, I didn't want to spend your money because I didn't know how much you had. But anyway, cooking to me back then was a duty. It was a duty. It was a necessary duty, you know. And you'll see later on in my question and answer thing here that what would I tell a new fireman? Learn how to cook one meal. You come on, you know you need to know how to cook one meal really well, and if you do, you'll be the best cook on the fire department. That's the only thing you can cook, but you need to, because that's going to be your duty that day. And eating's important to me. I don't always, except for a hot dog. So the schedule that the guys are under now are so much more involved than what they were back when it's been a long time since I've been on a truck. And when you spend that much time out, it would be unfair to even expect somebody to go to the store and prepare a meal. So that's evolved into doing a lot of eating out, here and there, which I don't see a thing wrong with. You're in your territory, and anytime you're in your territory, who's going to say that the call's not going to be right here? So I could never understand the real feelings toward that, but I got it explained to me 2 or 3 times. Meal times to me at the fire station were probably as important or more important to me than they were at home. And nothing bothered me as much to go to a station at mealtime and everybody wouldn't be at the table together. Now, I had a lot of different ideas about things that I did, but once I got to where we had to do a few things that I wanted to do around the station, we were all going to be at the table at the same time. Whether you were eating or not, we were going to be at the table at the same time. Talking or whatever you want to do, but well, like I said, that was important to me. And once you get to be captain, you get to have 1 or 2 most important things for yourself. Not any more than 2, but you can have 2.
Okay.
As far as firehouse living, the cubicle thing seemed to me as a little bit of a separation or wedge between the guys. I used to tell the guys, if you won't sit down at the table with me and eat with me, can I expect you to come in a building burning and burn the building and help me get out of it? If you won't sit down with me here. So I'm a dorm guy, number 1. Number 2, it'd be a whole lot easier to make sure everybody's up, too. Downtime was pretty much, in my time, left up to the individuals. I tried not to interfere with that in any way. Now, it seemed like we would be busy, and it would work out this way every day to 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock, and that's when our day pretty much ended. And from then on, if you want to call it downtime, but I'm going to tell you that I don't know what they do now. I don't know that they have the downtime that we have. I don't know that. I've got a lot of respect for the old-timey retired guys. That right there would be enough for me to greet them or talk with them or speak with them about how they're doing. They know what I'm doing, how I'm doing. They were a fireman for 25 or 30 years, so they know what we're doing and what we're supposed to be doing. I'd be more interested in them and how you're doing, how you're getting along, because they're the guys that pretty much got me here to start with, by developing and making this fire department work and go over the years. When I first got on, it seemed like a long time before there was anything in Greensboro of any significance, size-wise. A house fire was what I'd been trained for. Or most of the fires that we had, there was very little stuff out of the ordinary that really triggered my memory. Now, there were some things later on that did, but when I first went on, one of the first fires I rode was at Columbia Laundry. And there was water on the floor when we got there. And it got so hot that the concrete popped up. And from that day on, I'll never forget the word spalling, because that's when concrete gets hot. I'll never forget that. Think of it all the time now, just about when I look at concrete floor somewhere. But I'll never forget that, crawling in there, and that was one of the first calls that ever registered, you know, back there, I guess. They transferred me from there to Station 1, and then we had that old panel rescue truck. You remember that truck? Mm-hmm. And I was, being the low man on the pole, I rode that, and I never will forget the first call I was assigned to ride it with, and it was with Fuquay. And we was right behind the station, and a guy turned a car over back there, and it was upside down in the street, and he cussed me and Fuquay like dogs.
Wow. He
couldn't get out of the car, and he cussed us up one side. I was ready to go on back to the station to say, hey, this is nothing. But it progressed from there to when the squads came. You know, then we rode wheels off it. The Daily News fire really does very little fire in the building, whole lot of smoke in the building, but ink on the floor, and you couldn't stand up. I mean, if you even tried to move, you would just. And that was one of the, and that was the call that had the holes in the floor, you know, and the guys fell through the holes, and it's a wonder the guy didn't get hurt on that call, bad. And another call that nobody, unless they're a fireman, would ever even realize how dark a movie theater is inside when all the lights are off. But we in the National Theater about 2 o'clock in the morning, and there wasn't enough smoke in there for 2 cigarettes. But you couldn't see your face. And Jimmy Gwynn was right in front of me, and we were crawling right along the edge of the stage. Neither one of us knew it. And the next thing I know, I heard him holler, and it sounded like he fell off a cliff. And he's gone. I said, Next thing I know, I'm gone too. and I didn't fall but 4 feet, and I thought I fell 100 before I hit. But you know, and we're still in here, and neither one of us couldn't see each other. Mm-hmm. And that was impressive to know that you could be in somewhere that dark.
That's a good story.
The 9/11 incident that you're referring to now is if nobody in this world could ever see anything else about it, would be the dedication of those guys, knowing, because all of them knew that this was not going to be good. All of them knew that when they went in. Even if the thing hadn't fallen, it wasn't going to be good. And to see guys going and just keep on going into a situation like that because they knew there was a need for them to be there was pretty impressive to me. I feel the same way about those guys up there as I would the guys here. It's all one brotherhood. You know, the guys that got killed and got hurt, and when you see that, it's kind of, even today, when a firefighter loses his life now, I think it sends a little ripple through even through the retired guys, you know, and even the funerals for the retired guys, same way, feel the same way. Well, you know, probably the best answer that I could give for somebody that I looked up to would be guys that had less rank than I did, and see them do a good job in what they're trying to do. Okay. I didn't know what the guys that were above me were doing, or how they were doing to a big extent, but the guys under me, when I could see they're going overboard, or you know, just to do a better job. And I could name 2 or 3 of them, but I don't want to. But probably the biggest change I can think of between when I first came on, which, like I said, had been a long time ago, almost 50 years, but has been public perception. You know, when I came on, everybody that I met on the street wanted to know who won the checkers game last night. That don't happen anymore. And if you read the paper every day, it's even written different in the paper every day, you know, the way they perceive firefighters and what there's a volunteer firefighter that was standing on the side of the road at a wreck down in Davidson County on the news just a couple of days ago, and they had him on the news for about 10 minutes, and he's standing on the side of the road at a wreck, and he's talking to a reporter. But they wanted to know what the guy had to say, because they knew people would be interested in it. 25 years ago, I'd say, first off, it wouldn't have been in the news, probably, but fire department operations have changed so much now to get the guys in the communities and in the street. Well, if 9/11 made it turn the fire department into a whole lot more popular part of society, you know, when you start talking about firemen and what firemen do, you know. I'd say there's very few people in the United States that would believe that those guys would go up in that tower knowing that'd be tough. That'd be tough. You really have to have faith, especially in the guys you with. You got to have faith in the guys telling you to go up there too. You know, when you talk about things that you see that affect you, I tried not to dwell on that, and I didn't dwell. And I've been called a lot of things because of that. The first 15 calls, CPR calls we rode on the squad, they died. Wow. And we had, we didn't know whether this stuff worked or not, you know.
It was new.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Some of my proudest moments later on when I was on the department was, you know, I've had some guys that are captains and chiefs now that came to me and were appreciative that they were on our company together, you know, and worked together. And I tell anybody that asks me now, I don't take the credit for anybody that was ever on my company getting whatever they got. Mm-hmm. But I take credit for not doing anything to lead them the other way. And which you can do that too, very, and you know, you can do that very easily. You can lead a guy downhill, or you can help a guy go uphill. Now my first company that I had, when I made captain, two of them ended up chief, and one of them ended up captain.
Well, you did a good
job. First
job.
company I had. When you get 55 or 60, you read the obituaries in the paper every day. And I've been here a long time. I know a lot of people. And when Joe over here passes away, I just say, well, Joe's gone. But when Ben passes away, you know, I remember Ben and some of the things that we did or didn't do.
I think
so. This rings a different bell, you know, when you see we're one of them. Even old Josie, you know, that's in the paper just last week. Even him, he's an EMS guy. I thought the world of him.
Oh yeah.
It means a whole lot more to me to see that he's passed than a guy that is somebody I went to school with or something. When you're talking about a brotherhood and them being, you know, concerned about each other or care about each other or whatever, but when I first came on, Tommy Morrison, you remember Tommy Morrison?
I do.
Tommy Morrison passed away, and his wife called me and asked me if I could put a roof on her house. And I went in and wrote it on the board that we're going to put a roof on Tommy Morrison's house such and such a day. Mm-hmm. And we had more guys than we could let get on the roof. There's probably 25 guys out there.
Showed up.
We put the roof on the house and was ready to go home before she and her neighbor got hot dogs cooked for lunch. And you see, and it didn't have to be Tommy Morrison, it could have been anybody back then, I think. Then, and I don't know today. You know, unless you've been a fireman, you don't realize how much change it is when you're gone. You know, you're gone a third of the time, period. And actually more than that. But she supported it 100%, you know, never missed a beat. And I think a guy that doesn't have that support at home, it'd be awfully hard. Well, there's a lot of things that people are gonna probably remember me for, you know, good and bad. But I have always been proud to tell someone. They say, when they ask me, said, "What did you do?" You know, I said, "I was a firefighter." That's it.
That's a good answer.
So that's probably the best thing, the biggest thing I'm proud of is the fact that I spent that much time in my biggest part of my life doing something that I ended up being proud of that I did, and I am. And I'd do it again. I think I'd have to make some changes to do it.
I think we all
It'd be a whole lot of trouble, but that's as much as anything, you know. I don't hesitate 1 minute, you know, to tell somebody, you know, and I'm around. I have been in the past around my sister called me 4 times the night before I came to work at the fire department, begging me not to come to work at the fire department. 4 times she called me. My wife and I was talking about that last night. But her husband was president of Southern Pacific Railway in California. And she says, "Greg can get you a position." Never mentioned job. You just tell us what you want to do. What do you want to do? I said, "I want to be a fireman." She said, "Are you nuts?" I said, "No, I want to be a fireman." But actually, called me 4 times. I never will forget that.
We hope you enjoyed watching these documentaries. It was our goal to share and preserve the memories of our retired Greensboro firefighters. It is our desire that these documentaries will inspire future generations to continue the brotherhood, sisterhood, and camaraderie while always striving for excellence in their careers. While fire apparatus, equipment, and technology have improved, several things will always remain the same. The courage and bravery it takes to mitigate natural and man-made disasters will always be a part of the job. Although our retirees are no longer a physical part of the GFD world, a giant piece of each retiree's memories have been shared with you today. These memories will be in their hearts and minds forever. A special thank you goes out to Captain Harold Haney for his many long hours of recording and editing. Thank you, Harold. A job well done.